welcome to another edition of Brews and Crews. I am here with another guest, not only a friend, but also my brother-in-law. So he's been my brother-in-law for 3 months now, I think.
Yeah.
So it's the only brother I got. For anyone that knows me, I'm an only child. So I don't have any brothers. So he is here tonight, and he's going to show us a little bit about bourbon, because I didn't know this, but he has a love for bourbon, and he has told me to buy Basil Hayden, which that's what we're going to try tonight. And I've never had it. I've never even known about it. But this is the beauty of the podcast, is that we're testing out things. So we're going to crack this, and I'm going to let you tell us how you want to drink this. Rocks, neat?
Honestly, on the rock.
On the rocks?
Is the best. As long as, I mean, if it's not chilled, that's the best way to go. Hit it with a big rock, get it in there, get it chilled down, and that's the way to go. I mean, I would test around a little bit with it, but it wasn't until I went on one of the jobs. The guy that was actually my boss, he told me, he's like, "You hands down, you'll never find a smoother one than Basil Hayden." So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And you know, you test some that they have a claim to fame, and for me personally, Basil Hayden's one of my favorites.
There you go.
All right.
Throw in an ice cube. I've already cracked it. Whoa. How much do you pour on top of this?
Oh, just a little bit.
Just a little bit? All right.
Yep, just a little bit to get it chilled. There you go.
That's good.
Yep.
Perfect. So this is the Basil Hayden Toasted. So you actually had told me first, cheers.
Hey, cheers, bud.
Ooh, that's easy.
Yeah.
So you told me to get, it was like a 10-year rye, and I had struggles finding it. So this is the next best thing I could find, was the Toasted. So when it comes to the Toasted, the guy I bought it from here in town, he said this is a really good one, a popular one, because he looked up in his allocations as if he could find it, and he said, not able to find it. And if I can't find it, you're not going to find it in Winona, or probably even La Crosse. And so you actually do have a bottle, right?
I do.
And you had to search high and low for that at one point.
I searched all over the place. We had a lot of people looking all over Winona, La Crosse, Rochester, I think, too. But yeah, nobody could find it. And finally, we were like, well, we'll just have one shipped to the house. So I think that, if I remember right, that's how this one here showed up.
Okay. So yeah, I saw online you could buy it. It was like $75. So not the end of the world. It's, you know, from what I understand, to me, this is more expensive than I'm used to. However, it sounds like even this is considered, quote unquote, an entry level. So I don't know if there's any truth to that. I bought that Blanton's with Josh, and that was on a previous episode. And even that one said this is for like someone just barely getting into it. So I'm like, well, I spent like $100 on that. So what's an expert getting? Are they getting $1,000 ones, or what are we talking?
Right. I know I'm not in that ballpark range spending any type of money like that on this.
We're doing blue collar type. So.
Yes. Yeah. Buddy.
So how did you discover Basil Hayden? Because I didn't know anything about it. However, I was in the sauna the other day, and I was just talking to Stephanie, and I was like, yeah, you know, I got to find this Basil Hayden, so I got to go search after I'm done here at the gym. And the guy goes, Basil Hayden? Man, I only share that with, like, special people. And I said, well, my brother-in-law is coming on the cast, so it's special to me. So other people have heard of it, but I have not, and I know I am very new to this. So how did you discover this?
Yeah, honestly, it was with that boss I was telling you about. He said, hey, you've got to try this stuff. And that's how I found it. Otherwise, I was just staring at it on a shelf like it was just another name.
Sure, yeah,
but
and that's the thing. You walk to a liquor store and it's like, okay, what's good? And then I go to liquor stores and there's some that they're covered, or they're behind glass cases, and some are 300, some are 50, and I'm wondering how they decide on which ones go behind the locked case. So I don't know. I did go to one store. I think it was just the regular Basil, but that one was behind. It was behind the locked case. This guy had this in the back room, so it must be something a little higher up on the higher end for people, or at least maybe tough to get. I don't know.
Yeah, you can taste that toast though after.
I know
after it sits for a minute, you just kind of get that flavor pop up in your mouth a little bit. It's nice.
Let me taste that again.
You get the drink itself, which is smooth, and you get that flavor, that after bite that's just Yeah.
But it's not a bite, really. I mean, it's a bite, but it's not. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to, you don't do the
Right.
whole.
You don't make a face.
You don't make a face, yeah. So he had another one that he goes, if I had more than one of this, I would part with this one. And that was called the Smoke, the Basil Hayden Smoke.
Okay.
But he said, I got a couple of these, so he sold this to me. So I don't know if I got a good deal or not, but I spent a little bit of money. It wasn't the price range of the other one that you asked me to get, but close.
Yeah.
So anyways, I mean, this does taste good and pretty smooth.
Yeah.
So you got into this from your boss. And what job was this at?
Oh, we were working on it was a compressor job, excuse me, in, where were we? Oklahoma. That's where
Okay.
we were at. Yeah, we were down there hanging out. He said, "Hey, we're going out for dinner. We don't got to work tomorrow." I said, "All right, let's go out and have a sandwich and some beer or something like that."
Yeah.
And we just went and hung out. And he said, "Well, I'm a connoisseur of nice stuff." So I said, "Okay, well, if you're
Fancy.
looking back there, what would be your best bet?" And he pointed it out. I'd had a couple in the past, not Basil Hayden, but hands down, it just took me by storm.
Yeah, I mean, the smoother they go down, the better it is for me.
Yeah.
Because there's one that really stands out in my mind, and that is Wild Turkey Long Branch. That one goes down real smooth. So you always know the smooth ones and the ones that have a huge bite, because not everyone wants a huge bite behind their alcohol.
Right.
Most want smooth, at least I would think so.
Smooth and full of flavor.
Full of flavor and smooth.
Yes.
So I was reading on their website, because I had to do a little research. I didn't know what Basil Hayden was. Excuse me. And it's obviously from Kentucky, which makes sense. That seems where all bourbon and whiskeys are from. But it said on one of them, it said if you took like a drop of water in it or put it on the rocks like this, it really opens up the flavor.
Correct.
So I don't know if that's happening here or not, because I've never had it neat. The next pour I have is going to be neat, so I can try to tell the difference. But I was talking to Josh, and you know Josh, he was in the wedding party as well.
Yeah.
And he said that some connoisseurs are totally against any sort of ice or on the rocks or any sort of water in it. It's just supposed to be neat, and that's it. So I don't know. Hopefully we're not pissing anyone off out there.
Hey, cheers if we do.
Cheers if you do. Because then you come on here and tell us why.
I'll be watching to see why.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know if I believe it, but it's really just, I think it's all personal preference. So I'd like to shift over to, you were in the military,
Yes.
and this podcast definitely supports military for sure. When did you go into the service then?
2005. Did 10 years with a transportation company.
Okay.
And
And what does that mean? What's the...
means that, you do convoys, driving convoys.
Okay.
You could be in the passenger seat as well,
Okay.
running around doing all sorts of missions. You're either driving in the convoy, there's convoy security,
Sure.
just running stuff back and forth, and a little mix of everything.
So when it comes to brews and crews, folks, remember, it's just a passion of what I love to do. And right now we're learning that, well, Mark had to drive a bunch of different things probably in the military.
Yes.
And they all went vroom, correct?
Oh, yes, they all went vroom.
Or some of the memorable things you had to drive or transport.
I don't know. I guess one of my favorites would have been the LMTV.
What's that?
That is a vehicle that's really meant for all-terrain.
Okay.
What the abbreviations are, I don't remember. It's been a bit. But, yeah, they're meant for all sorts of terrain. The tire inflation system is pretty neat. You can go from blacktop to sand. They deflate and inflate themselves at the push of a button.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they can maneuver over just about everything.
How the heck does it do that?
The system they installed, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So,
inflates.
so you would deflate if you were going over like mud or something, and then you would inflate if you're going on harder pavement?
You'd want to deflate a little bit. Like say you're going in sand or something,
Yep.
your tires dig in too far.
Oh, gotcha.
Flatten them out a little bit so they have a bigger footprint.
Yep.
Roll right through it.
So did you do that? Did you do any tours then?
Yeah, I did a tour over to Kosovo,
Okay.
2007, while they won their independence, which was actually
Oh.
a pretty neat deal for them.
So, okay. So who were they? Were they just becoming independent from a different country?
Well, so they're in between. You have Serbia and Albania, and
Okay.
then you have a little mesh of both, right in the middle, and they wanted to form their own country of Kosovo.
Oh, gotcha.
1999, the initial war started.
Okay.
And it was pretty nasty.
Were you over there helping them?
No, not
Nope.
not during that point. But
Okay.
2007, while I was over there, we were helping them out. We were going around as a liaison team, talking with municipality leaders
Sure.
and just gathering information around our particular municipality, send it up the food chain, and
Wow.
help them out.
So yeah, the thing is, people, and even myself, you don't realize that our military is all over the world, and we don't even know it unless it's some major war.
Yeah.
And you're over somewhere that I would never even thought of.
Yep.
I didn't even think twice about. So you did a tour over there. Is that where you got to drive some of those things, or was that here in the States?
No, we didn't do anything like that over there. We had SUVs while we were over there.
Okay.
So that was pretty nice. They had the infantry guys. They were running around in their Humvees.
Sure.
Up armored and full body gear. And we lucked out. We just happened to have our regular uniform and a pistol on our side. We had all our body armor in the back of the truck in case
Okay.
something bad happened. But
Sure.
our job was just kind of just hang with the people.
Sure, that's kind of neat though, because
Yeah.
now when I think of that, if I saw someone walking down the street in military uniform, I'd be thinking, "Oh man, what's going on here?" Were any of the people like that at all? Or did they kind of like a little iffy on what are you doing here?
No.
They just kind of, no, they
Not while we were there. I'm sure,
Sure.
and when everybody first showed up during the war, everybody
Yeah.
was kind of like, "Oh, whoa, what's going on?" But then while we were there, I mean, it had been going on for,
yeah.
let's say, 8-9 years.
Sure,
Close to
yeah.
9 years.
You said 99 they kind of started,
Yeah.
and you were there in like 07? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so by
what
the
was,
time-
did you have to fly over then, obviously?
Yeah.
How was that? Did you take
rough.
it
That
was
was an
rough?
18-hour plane trip over there.
That is rough.
Yeah, it's shoulder to shoulder with, we'll say, larger guys.
Sure. What, was it all military? All
Yes.
Okay,
Yep,
so
all
you weren't
military.
flying over in like a commercial plane. You were in a military plane.
Correct.
Yeah. See that, and that's kind of neat. So it was crowded in there too.
Yes, very much so. And then you have to take turns. Everybody just walks up and down the aisle to
Sure.
stretch your legs. And
Oh man, I mean,
yeah, it was wild.
we did that 8-hour flight from Hawaii, and I can't imagine sitting in economy, let alone an 18-hour flight crunch with bigger guys. Because
Yeah.
military guys aren't usually the smallest guys in the world, for sure.
Right.
Not our military. So I mean, that sounds terrible. Was it It wasn't a cargo plane, right? It was just
No, it was a regular, I don't know, you call it a jumbo jet.
sure. Yep.
Yeah.
How many guys were going? Was it full?
Head count, I have no
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you. There's a couple hundred at least.
Jeez, that sounds terrible. Just driving or flying over there like that.
Yeah.
So then you came back. How long were you over there for?
A year.
A year. Okay.
Yeah, we stopped in Germany, hung out there for
Okay.
our pre-deployment, hung out and went sightseeing, got to
Sure.
taste some of the food around there. And
That's cool.
it was a good time.
Yeah, you get to explore the world a little bit.
Yeah. Had
So-
some schnitzel.
You can get the old schnitzel. That's kind of fun. I mean, you get to travel the world a little bit, and then you said you were in for 10 years. So then there was 9 years of other things you were doing.
Yeah, it was
around
a
the States.
National Guard.
National Guard. Okay.
Yeah,
And that's
so
what
we do the
Stephanie
1
was
weekend
in.
a month. Yeah, same
Right?
thing as Steph.
Okay.
We're in the same unit. We actually had, somebody posted an article about the first brother sister in the.
Oh, really?
In the unit, yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it was pretty cool. I wish I could track that down.
How'd you get interested in the military? Was your family in that at all?
Well, we've got a large family history of being
Oh, do
in
you?
the service, and
Okay.
yeah, uncles, great uncles, yeah, lots.
See, I didn't know all that then.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was just like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm graduating college. Let's go serve our country. I wouldn't know that you had a family history of that kind of stuff. So that's kind of neat because I had, I think my dad's dad was the only one that was really in it, and it was during the Korean War. And my other side, as far as I know, not a big military background. So I didn't really have any thoughts of even really doing it. If I had to, I probably would have chosen Air Force. But
Yeah.
I know that amongst all of them, don't they have like a rivalry? Like, oh, if you're in the Navy, you're a wimp. But if you're in the Army,
Yeah,
you're a
it's
wimp.
kind of segregated.
Yeah?
You've got your Navy and Air Force
Yeah.
on one side, and then you've got your Army and Marines on
Sure.
one side because they're in the ground right there in the fight, and then you guys. I mean, all branches are important.
Right,
All
yeah.
branches are very important. Each serve their role. But
Did you ever get
there
made
is
fun of?
kind of a,
Did you ever get made fun of by any of the guys?
no.
No, they didn't want to mess with you.
Heck no.
You're a bigger guy. I wouldn't want to mess with you either.
But it was good. I really enjoyed it. The relationships you build with the people
Sure.
over there, and here too in the service. I mean, it was just outstanding.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of good people trying to learn, trying to grow, trying to do something as a unit, as a group.
Yep.
And everybody brings something to the table, so you just got to take it for what it is.
It's a big team is what it really
Yeah.
is. And teams always bring everyone together.
Correct.
You still in contact with any of those guys? Or
Couple of
girls?
them, yeah.
Are they close friends, or do you just...
No, I couldn't say I wish I had more closer
Sure.
friends that came out of that, but I mean they're good buddies and they'll always mean the world to me.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when it comes to military things, there's always questions you're not supposed to ask, correct? It's like when you ask
yeah.
like an officer, you don't ask them like, "Hey, did you kill anyone?" You don't ever ask that. That's a no-no, correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any other-
You can ask somebody, but
Sure.
somebody that's really been in, they're just gonna, I don't know. I'm not gonna,
Maybe shrug you off.
shrug that question off, or
So
just
I'm
really come down to the point of kind of ignoring the question, or
Sure,
nobody wants to
yeah.
admit that,
So where I'm going with that is there, like, let's just say you see someone in public. Are there no-nos to ask an ex-military person or anyone even in the service now? Is there questions you just don't ask? You just don't do it.
You could really, we have the freedom of speech. You can ask them whatever they want.
Sure, yeah. But this is like just the unwritten rule. You just don't ask that question because they're not. First of all, they're not going to answer it. Second of all, you might offend them. So you have those kind of things.
Not really.
No?
I guess one of the questions you already touched on is, did you kill somebody? Well,
Yeah.
Nobody really wants. Nobody wants to talk about it,
Right.
even if they did. So they're just going to brush you off and really acknowledge that you're appreciating
Yep.
them and their service and what they did for the United States.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the one thing I want to let our listeners know. Like, hey, appreciate first of all the people that are willing to do this for our country, but then also, hey, if you meet them, don't do this too. So I just want to make
Right.
sure that there's nothing, because then I also see out on the internet people are doing the stolen valor where they'll dress up like an
that
ex.
drives me nuts.
It seems like it drives a lot of ex-military nuts or
Yeah.
people that are in the service now. So do you know why they do it? Because I can't think of any reason other than they want to feel like some hero that they weren't, or they're trying to get free crap.
I think you're hitting it right on the button.
Yeah.
They want that appreciation. They want that really focused attention.
Sure.
Let's say it.
Yep.
That real soldiers have gotten. They either can't get in, didn't try to get in, or a combination of all of it. And
Yep.
they don't have it. They want it, so they're going to grab it and make it their own, which sucks.
It seems so weird. It's like playing dress up. It's like being at Halloween, Do people ever get mad when kids are dressed up as Halloween as a army man? No. See, sometimes I think people think like, oh man, you're not supposed to do this because it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And then I'm talking to you and you're like, it's no big deal. But then again, you're a pretty easygoing guy, so maybe it doesn't bother you like it might someone else.
No. I actually go back to that kid thing. I found a picture several years ago. I was like 2, 3, maybe 4 at most, and I was dressed up as a Army soldier.
Oh.
I had the Rambo headband,
Yeah.
the uniform, everything, and it looked really slick. It looked cool. And I was like, man, look at this. And then, years later, here I am in the
Here you
service
are.
dressed up in the current outfit. So I was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah. Mom and dad ever have any issues with you going in?
Oh, they hated it.
Did they really?
Yeah, right off the bat.
Oh man, I could see your mom, but dad, I don't know.
Yeah.
Mom, I can see protective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Because I know she.
Dad was kind of like, all right, whatever. But
Yeah.
Yeah, Mom, she hated it, and she's like, well, if you deploy, is something going to happen? And
Right.
then I found out I was deploying, and then,
She's a little nervous on that one. Yeah. So
it was pretty bad.
So going back to Stolen Valor, I was watching Tosh.0 one time, and he was doing a bit on the Stolen Valor, and they were showing clips. It was a clip show, and then he did, after all of the people calling people out there doing the Stolen Valor, he was in a skit. And someone was coming up to him saying that he had stolen valor,
Yeah.
but he was dressed up like a Revolutionary War guy. And
You have it.
it's so funny. I had this one clip that I always remember from Tosh.0. He's like, stolen valor. He's like, what? And he's got like a musket in his hand and the whole red coat on and everything from back in the Revolutionary War era. It's so funny. So I just thought that was hilarious because it wasn't a knock on the military, just something that was about the skit that they were doing. So that was, I thought, hilarious.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, now going off of the military thing, now you're big into the Norwegian background, correct?
Yes. Very much
Okay.
so.
Are you full Norwegian?
I would say about a 95.
Oh,
There's a little, what the heck's that other one? Right next door to them.
What's her next?
Swedish?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, right next door. So yeah, there's a little bit of that on mom's side. Dad's parents are both full-blooded.
So, my last name Jacobson. You're Erickson. So, I have some Norwegian background as well from my grandpa, but I've never done one of those 23andMe tests or whatever, the ones that would show me my ancestry, which I kind of want to do to see, but I know I'm a mixture of a bunch of different things. But my grandpa was big into the Norwegian background, and he had the accent like that as well. He'd go, oh, tree. He would talk like that, and he would have that Norwegian thing. So I understand that you brew something that's very Norwegian. Is that correct?
I do.
And what is that?
It is called Mead.
Mead.
M-E-A-D, Mead.
Okay.
And it is a, kind of compare and really put it out there in a simple term, it's like wine, but instead of made with grapes, it's made with honey. And that's where the sugar is pulled from.
Oh,
it dates back as far as that, if not further. But I actually brought some with me today.
Oh, you brought some goodies.
Yeah, we're going to sample some of that.
Well, then we're going to try that here once I get done with this, and I can go get another glass for that for sure. Or how do you drink it? Is it on the rocks, or is it just straight up?
Straight up.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a little different. Is it thicker than wine, or is
it is a little thicker than wine. The taste comparison and the texture really of it. I mean, it kind of has the acidity of like a little bit of that wine.
Yep.
But a flavor of like a craft beer-ish type. We'll taste it out and see what you think, and see how you critique it.
Well, yeah, definitely got to see what the difference is between that, because I've never even heard of it until you.
Yeah.
Didn't even know what it was. So it's a very Norwegian thing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So does it originate over there? I assume.
I mean, as far as they date back, everybody talks about it.
Yeah.
It backtracks to the Viking era, and that's where a lot of it came from. Is around that region of Europe, and it's there's multiple versions here. I don't know. I doubt that they had that back then, but there's a base model of a mead, and then there's one where you introduce fruit juices, spices, and you can really branch off and do whatever you want with it during the fermentation process.
So can you make it like a wine? Can you make it sweeter, drier, really dry?
Honestly, I don't know much about making the wine itself. I think a lot of it has to do with the grapes, where they all come from, and how long you let it set.
So is there different flavors of mead, or is mead just one flavor?
Mead, the base level mead is just one flavor. It's basically like a honey, real thick honey aftertaste. You start introducing those berries and fruits and spices and all that, you can change the profile to whatever you want. And
nice.
That's the beauty of it. Is I got what I brought with me now is just the very base model I got into it almost a year ago, and I made this first batch, and it's been sitting. I want to get rid of it before I start redoing the next one. I want to make sure that the process that I'm doing is smooth first, and then I'll start changing it up from there.
Okay, so did you have to order ingredients then, or go pick them up somehow, or how did you learn this?
So I got a kit
there's a
for
kit.
Christmas.
Okay.
Last year it was a mead making kit.
All right.
Took what was in there. You just go out and buy honey. You can a lot of local honey you can get. You can order it online, depending on what you want, what you're looking for, and use that. It's real easy. Water, honey, yeast. And then you can also add some yeast nutrients to it, boost it up,
nice.
Help the fermentation process, and you can get different types of honey.
Okay.
There's several different, like a clove, whatever. You do some research and figure out if you're going to get into it, what you're really looking for.
Yep.
And it's a lot. It's fun for me.
It's fun for you.
Yeah.
Is it one of your favorite drinks, or is it like I like it here and there?
It's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Where I really got kicked into gear, I went over to a place called Valhalla over in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay.
And they're a meadery over there. And
what's called a meadery?
Yes.
So like a brewery, this is a meadery.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
And where was this at?
Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kalamazoo, Michigan. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So over there, I mean, they had, what was it? I'd say at least a dozen different flavor profiles.
Sure.
And they're fantastic. Every bit of it is fantastic. I think there's like one out of them that I was kind of like, whatever.
Yep.
But every one of them other than that was fantastic. And then while you're there, they kind of monitor like where you're at, because I watched a guy that was sitting at the table next to me, he got kind of kicked in the face by the alcohol content in that thing.
What does it got? Do you know?
I looked it up and it said anywhere between 3 to 20%. So if
That's a big
if you're on the higher
range.
end of the scale, yeah, you're gonna get
Yeah.
you're gonna be ear to ear grin all night.
So at a meadery, is it similar to a brewery, or has it got a different atmosphere or feel?
Well, the one I was at, it was pretty similar to a normal
Yeah.
brewery. I mean, they've got all their stuff in the back,
Sure.
where they're taking care of that business out there. But out front, they've got your taps, glasses, just like a normal bar. Or,
That's cool.
Brewery.
We'll have to go sometime because we've been going to a lot of breweries lately. Now that you live closer here than you did before, which was Nebraska, slightly easier to go and do our thing. But yeah, transferring over to that, we go to a lot of breweries around here. Is there one in particular that you're like, this is a good one to go to? I love going to this one specific.
Yeah.
Because there's one that I know I love, and I want to see if it's the same one.
I really had. What was that one that you had? That pseudo Sue. That was one of your
Toppling Goliath
Toppling Goliath.
down in Decorah.
That was That was amazing.
Yes.
All those beers were good. The food was good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just had Brett on last week, and we did a four beer flight from Toppling Goliath. So
Yeah.
he went in, chose 2. I went into the store and we chose 2, and so we had 4 of them, and then we just kind of sampled it. And he liked one that was very fruity. It was like wild berry, cranberry, like every berry you can find, and it was poured in, and it was almost like having Skittles, really. So that one could come up and kick you in the butt. But Toppling Goliath is really cool. And the funny thing is, I don't know if you know this, but Stephanie and I, we sent out invites for our wedding to different places, and Toppling Goliath was one that we sent an invite to, and they actually sent something back. So if you ever go on,
way.
they sent some coasters and I think 2 glasses they sent back.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Yeah, I know. So that means they checked their mail, first of all.
Yeah.
And I've been there 3 times. Once with you and your dad and his buddies, and I enjoy that place too. It's so weird because it's on the outskirts of Decorah, Iowa, and Decorah is already small.
Yeah.
And then it's on the outside of Decorah, and it's just this giant red building, and it's so neat. But I love going there too. That's one of my favorite ones as well. We'll take another trip down there on our cycles because now, like I told you, now that I got my Harley, I'm a man.
Yeah. Yeah. Had to upgrade from that Indian.
Yeah, both Indians. Yeah, both Indians got that Harley, so now I'm part of the crew.
Yeah, that's a nice ride, man.
Yeah,
You did
it's sweet. So you have a Harley. What do you have?
good. I have a 2010 Road King.
2010 Road King. And does that have a fairing on it? Or
It does not.
Nope. So you got the windshield?
I don't know, like to ride with that thing on anyway.
You like the wind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I never thought I'd have a fairing in my life. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that looks like old man style. And I'm like, wait a second, these creature features are quite nice when I'm cruising at 70 or 60 where I can hear my music and I'm not getting beat up in the face with the wind. But I remember when I had the other one, now I'm like, man, I don't think I'd ever go back.
Really?
So I really like the CVO. It's a sweet bike, but
Yeah.
I know you rode it and you think that I need to have ape hangers. And
Yes. Well, at least pick them up. So you have those bars. I mean, sitting right here.
so if you're watching, you can see, but if you're listening, my bars come right about, if you were to stick your hand straight out, that's about where my handlebars come out. Where do yours come out?
Well, yours are just above lap height.
Yeah.
Mine sit just above shoulder height.
Okay.
Circulation wise, oh man, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, and see, I rode yours, and it was comfortable. I didn't have a problem with it. However, the element of having the fairing for me and my hands above the fairing don't make sense.
Yeah.
But I'm not uncomfortable when I ride there. You said, because all we went was like 6 or 7 miles down the street, and you're like, man, my arms are like numb. I don't even like that, and you might because you're not used to it. Yeah. And I didn't have any problem riding yours with the ape hangers on it. The one thing I did find that was easier with the ape hangers is I could turn sharper when I was backing it into a parking stall because it's closer to your body when your hands are up higher because it's not as far away.
Yep.
So I'm almost like reaching a little bit where yours is more like coming towards you a little. So I did find it easier when backing into a stall in order to, because I do know when I'm trying to put that as far as I can one way or the other, it's tough because I'm reaching one end out and the other hand's right next to my thigh. So I understand, but it's been fun.
A big difference. Big difference.
So I like having you here because now we can ride. So I'm glad you guys moved back from Nebraska.
Yeah, me too. It's pretty neat. One ride I do want to take is jump on what is the east side of the Mississippi, on the Wisconsin side.
Yep.
And take off south.
Go south. So down to like DeSoto and Illinois, Iowa, that area.
something like that. I can't
Yep.
remember, was it
Dubuque?
Davenport?
Davenport.
Straight, what is that? Or Prairie, straight down to Prairie du Chien?
Well,
and then over to Denver?
Dubuque is right on the river,
Dubuque, that's
and that's where Justin lives, right in that area.
boy.
Yeah, so I'm like, we can go there, and he'd love if we came down there because I want to actually go do that and stay the weekend with him, and that's a ride we should do because I don't really want to ride 3.5 hours one way by myself. It's kind of boring. I did that
Yeah.
when I came back from Milwaukee when Justin and I we split off, but that's a ride that we could do over the summer because he's like, come down here. There's like 6 or 7 breweries just in this town alone.
Get some patches.
Get some patches, yeah. If for anyone that doesn't know, Speakeasies are here. Well, about half of them, 2/4 of us are sitting here. Your dad's part of it. Justin's not part of it. He'll be on the cast sometime.
Yep.
But yeah, we're all from different areas, but we got the Speakeasies. We ride and we like to go to different breweries. We like to drink responsibly, meaning we have the small little tasters almost, or the flight beers that are like 4 or 5 ounces. So we're not going and getting all liquored up. We're just having a few little ones. So that is something we could possibly do over a weekend if you have a weekend free ever. I know you're gone a lot for work, but
Yeah.
so speaking of work, you have a job that I'm not even sure I understand what you do because I feel like you have been doing the same thing. However, your jobs have changed like 5 or 6 different times in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So what is it that, first of all, did you go to college for this?
No.
No. So,
No college for this.
Okay, so what are you into then?
So I started off with the trades, working in the trades as a millwright, working on rotating equipment. Pumps, compressors, turbines, motors, drag conveyors, bucket elevators, anything that has bearings and can go around.
Okay.
Installation, demobilization, tearing down things, rebuilding and putting them back together. Started out with that, did that for about 7, almost 8 years.
Okay.
And now joined a worldwide giant pump manufacturer as a field service mechanic. So I'll go out there and now take all this broad range of information and tear apart a pump.
And
Tear apart, rebuild, put back online.
what kind of pump are we talking?
Pumps in refineries, power plants,
Okay.
Oil pipelines, any fluid that's got to go from one spot to another.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stick stuff in there and push things from point A to point B.
Push things from point. So now, are you located? Do you just go in every day, or are you all across the country?
I'm
Or?
across the United States, and it's kind of interesting because we're on call. So if somebody at the drop of a hat says, hey, we need a guy here tomorrow, hey, Mark, can you get on a plane and get here tonight? Okay.
You
Not a
have to
problem.
do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Or at least try my best to get there
Yep.
within the next 24 hours.
What if you're 48 hours? Then what?
It is what it is.
It is what it is, okay.
Got to get out of flight or get my
Yep.
tool truck and scoot halfway across the United States. All right, it is what it is, but
Where's
they understand. So
Yeah.
it's-
Well, I mean, you got to obviously get to the airport, hopefully get a flight. Now, do they book the flight for you? You have to do that yourself.
We do all our own booking.
that's-
We're a travel agent. We take care of our own expenses. And really take care of our tool trucks.
Sure. And that's
Yes,
why I
we
had you on, because I knew that you have a crazy schedule where you could be gone for a week at a time, or 3 weeks, or a day.
Yep.
You don't even know. So that's why I said, well, let's get you on as soon as we can, because you could get a call right now and have to be gone in 24 hours or
Exactly.
something like that. So it's good that we got you on now while we could, because that's a crazy schedule. I don't know if I could handle it. I mean, it sounds kind of fun because you get to travel places, which sounds amazing, because I know one time you're in Texas, because you were sending me pictures of patches and such.
Oh, yeah.
At different breweries. So I know you were down there one time, and but it sounds like you could have fun, but then obviously families at home, and now they're sitting there wondering, do they tell you how long you're gone for?
No.
No, they say.
They'll try and have an allotted couple of days, and
Sure.
if something happens and something breaks down or something doesn't go together right,
Yep.
got to make a new part, we got to wait on parts to ship out there. We'll either sit out at the customer's facility, find something to do, or go hang out at the hotel and wait on something to show up. Or they'll say, hey, go home and come back in a couple of weeks, depending on what the situation is, really. One of the interesting ones you're talking about, like a day trip. So I got a phone call in the afternoon, and they said, hey, we need you in, where was it? North Carolina tomorrow. Can you go? I said, absolutely. So I got my flight, got my hotel, got my rental, flew down to North Carolina, showed up the next morning, worked for 2 hours, got a flight home the same day because there's nothing we could really do with this piece of machinery. It's all locked up. Well, if it's locked up, it's got to go out to the shop, and they tear it apart and fix it according to the manufacturer's specifications. So we said, hey, see you. We're out of here.
2 hours.
Yep.
Fly halfway
Yep.
across the United States. 2 hours, fly back.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you must have a lot of points built up in hotels
Yeah,
and
it's been crazy.
airplanes. They let you keep that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. And they reimburse you, I assume, is what happens. Or is there like a company card that
No,
you just...
it's all company card. They pay for it. They take care of us, and it's
Dang. That's
pretty
cool.
good. The
So-
treatment's great.
So you didn't go to school for that? You
No.
just learned it on the job?
Well, when I was in the millwrights, you go through an apprenticeship
Okay.
where you learn basic knowledge, and then if you take off in one branch or another, you go to like steel fabrication, precision installation, just depends on what you really grasp, who you talk to, and what you want to get into. You can shoot in one direction, you can take off in the other, and forget what you learned over here. So I took what I had and got the opportunity to jump on board with these guys, and it's been great ever since.
That's good. So I'm going to pause right there. You brought Basil Hayden,
I did.
and you brought the one that I couldn't find.
The one you couldn't find.
I would like to test that out before we get back to your job.
Sure.
So let's show first of all the audience that are watching at home. This is what, the 10-year rye, is that correct?
This is the 10-year rye that you were looking for.
All right. So this is Basil Hayden's 10-year Kentucky Straight Rye whiskey. This is the one where I was reading, it said putting it on the rocks or just dropping a little bit of water in it will make the flavor just pop.
Yep.
So we've had toasted. Mark was kind enough to bring this one here for us. So I would like to take a little taste of this. And I
Have at
want
it,
to
buddy.
see what we got. So is this your all-time favorite?
That right there, my personal all-time favorite.
Your personal, yep.
I've had ones that are a little bit more expensive, a little cheaper, but they've
does
got
really
like, you know,
get
we
better.
were talking about that bite where you make a face.
Yep. This got it?
No,
Nope.
absolutely not. I mean, if you do,
do?
maybe it's not for you. But
If you do, you're just not a man. Well, let's see what we got here. Because it said on the website that it's smooth, but all the websites say that as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a bolder flavor for sure. Definitely no bite. When you sniff it, it smells like there's going to be a bite, but there's not. Now, I had one last night. So for everyone listening, today's New Year's Day, New Year's
Happy
Eve.
New Year's, happy 2024.
Happy 2024. This won't be out until about February, so it is what it is. But happy 2024. You're my first interview of 2024. But last night I had it was a bourbon or a whiskey. No, it was scotch. Sorry, it was scotch. And I can't even remember. I think it was Glenlivet. And it said something like it was Caribbean or something like that. And it smelled like it was about to burn the back of my throat. Went down so smooth. It was like a tropical whiskey, scotch, bourbon thing. And I don't know. I never saw the bottle. I was just told this is what it was. And I said, this is fantastic, whatever that is. And Brett's the one that poured it for me. So I don't know where he got it from, but I might have to try that out sometime.
Yeah.
So getting back to your job. So you went through an apprenticeship.
Yep.
What does that mean? What is an apprenticeship?
So you're learning your job, really learning what you do on the job. They have scheduled classes, what they do, one per quarter, a normal like school year.
Okay.
So we'd go 4-year apprenticeship, 4 classes a year, and get through there. You need working time on the job.
Yep.
And then once you cross off all those boxes, or check the boxes really, you work your way to being a journeyman, which once you're a journeyman, you kind of have free reign to work wherever you want. You answer to certain people. I mean, kind of like any job you do.
Sure. Now, is this something specific? Like, I'm doing this apprenticeship. Is it something specific, or is it a wide variety of different jobs that
It's a wide variety
Okay.
of jobs. Depending on where you go, you could be pushing a broom all day long. You could.
That sounds amazing.
I mean, you're making good money. You're in the trades. You're taken care of.
Sure.
Those union guys, they really take care of themselves.
Yep.
It's really a good deal to get into, is that union trade, no matter what it is, really.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that kids don't realize nowadays is you can go to these trade schools apprenticeship,
Yeah.
2-year vocational school, and you can make more money sometimes, or I would say more than sometimes, than people that go to a 4-year college. I mean, I doing this podcast, I learned this on YouTube. I didn't go to classes. I'm learning how to do the editing, the website building, the audio engineering, I think you would call it. I'm learning how to do this on YouTube. There's no class I took. So it is crazy how much you can learn, but you do need sometimes a certificate or something saying, hey, I passed this.
Yeah.
So did you get like some sort of diploma or some sort of thing that says, hey, I'm Mark Erickson. I've done all this. Is there something?
Yeah, you get your journeyman, what they call a journeyman card.
Okay.
Basically, a certificate saying you've made it through the apprenticeship. Once you get through that apprenticeship, your expectation level, I mean, is up here.
Okay.
You are going to make the good money. You're going to go wherever you want to go. But at the same time, if you're not pulling your weight, you're not going to be working as much as some of the rest of the guys that try to, keep their head down and work hard.
Sure. So I was also told from your sister that you went to culinary school.
I did.
So that seems like it's the total opposite of what you're doing now.
So I got out of basic training in AIT while I was in the service. Being in the National Guard, I've got time to go do whatever I want versus if you're in the full-time Army, you're at a base all the time. So National Guard, we still have this allotted money for school. And I said, well, I'm a huge fan of cooking food.
Really?
Huge fan.
Okay.
So I said, well, what are we going to do with this? So let's go to culinary school, try the chef industry out and see how that goes.
Yeah. What year was this? Was it after you had done your tour?
2006.
So before you went?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was about spring 2006.
All right.
And I got into school. You do 1 year of school and then 3 months of an internship for your bachelor's, a 2-year.
Sure.
Yeah.
What school did you go to?
Le Cordon Bleu.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah.
So I expect you to be whipping up some hibachi here pretty quick.
Yeah.
You'll go really good with this.
It was good school. Instructors were great. Ended up with an amazing internship up in northern Minnesota in Nisswa at Grandview Lodge.
Okay.
And that place is amazing. Everything about it. The hotel itself, the houses on the beach. They've got a bunch of nice golf courses, one designed by Arnold Palmer, from my understanding.
And where is this at?
Up in Nisswa.
Nisswa, Minnesota?
Nisswa, Minnesota.
Okay, I've never been there. So
Called Deacon's Lodge.
Deacon's Lodge.
Place.
It's fancy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get to spend some money when you go up there.
Yeah?
But yeah, it's worth this. We played that one time, and being a employee up there, we got the privilege of being able to, I mean, you're not going to abuse it, but you go out to this golf course, you tell them you work there. And they said, hey, okay, well, not a problem. You go ahead, take a tee time. So, okay. So we showed up, and I realized at that point in time why some people take golf so seriously, and that's what they love to do with every bit of their heart. I mean, just the scenery up there.
Yep.
The more expensive golf courses are worth every bit of it, if they're designed right. And this place was.
Well, you definitely missed out on a good course for my bachelor party because I think you were working, right?
Man, you got to rub it in.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was cool because it was designed after some of the actual holes that were, like they had Augusta number 16 or 13. It was a replica hole. So they had like not every one of them, but most of them were replica holes. And it was such a fun time. A little spendy, but I think the one you're talking about could be even more expensive. But this was really neat. And it was a really cool thing is one of the guys, Jay, got a hole in one while we were there.
No way.
On the second hole.
No way.
Yes. The guys texted us because we had 8 guys, so we had 4 and 4. So I said, why don't we just all join up and just play 8? There's nobody out here today. And they said, nah, we don't want to abuse the course rules. I'm like, there's nobody around us, but okay, whatever. So they text us, Jay got a hole in one. I'm like, yeah, right, bullshit.
Way to go, Jay.
Yeah. Cheers to Jay on that hole in one. Because the guy's so damn modest, he wouldn't even hardly say anything about it. I'm like, okay, like, why isn't he? Why didn't we hear any cheering or anything? And Jay's a pretty modest guy. You guys would get along really well because he's big into using his hands and the trades and stuff like that. You guys would get along real well. But anyways, all of a sudden we see drinks coming back from the cart girl to ours, and I'm like, it was bought from him. I'm like, yeah, he got a hole in one. And so then about 2 holes later, we finally caught up to him. I'm like, hey, did you really get a hole in one? He goes, yeah. I'm like, and he wouldn't lie. He's too honest of a guy.
Yeah.
But he's like, yep, we got a hole in one. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I would be really freaking happy, I think, right now if I had a hole in one. But I guess you're just like, yeah. And it was the second one, by the way, in his life.
Oh, no way.
So some guys go their whole life and never get one. Some guys, they get multiple and they don't even care about the second one, I guess.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that was a really fun time and sounds probably like what is in Nisswa, which I've never even heard about that. But Arnold Palmer designed the course there?
To my understanding, yeah.
That's pretty cool because I think he has multiple courses that he designed.
Yeah.
I think there's some in Florida too, which would make way more sense. But
Right.
yeah, same thing. So have you ever used your culinary arts at all? No.
No.
Just at home.
Yeah, just at home.
You're just the best at home cook.
Yes.
Great. That's
no,
awesome.
I did, 3 years at that lodge. So I did my initial apprenticeship, or you call it apprenticeship or, whatever, through there.
We'll call it the field experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do your 3 months of internship, sorry. Do your 3 months there, and then they have 6 different major restaurants. They've got your a la carte, which is, you read from the menu, tell them what you want. You've got your banquet style, where we were doing hundreds, 500 to 750 people per meal a day, depending on how many people were booked for the lodge at that point in time during the summer. And you get in there, you beat feet, you keep your head down, work hard, prepare food, get it on these little bread trucks, and we drive around the resort dropping everything off.
Oh.
And once you get to that last location, you better get on that truck and back to the kitchen. You got way more work to do to get ready for that next meal. And all summer long, it's like that, Monday through Sunday. So it was pretty interesting. A lot of people worked there, a lot of good folks.
Do you think you like what you do now better than that? You think like maybe that would have been a better route?
There are pluses and minuses
Sure.
that come with each that line of work. They don't tell you, unless you're the top guy, you are the head chef, you own your own thing, you're not going to make anything for money.
Okay.
Once I got into the trades, that's when I was started finally able to, 8, 9, 10 years later, actually start putting money back towards that school fund. So I was like, man, I've tried
the
a
military
bunch of
didn't
different
cover
jobs.
it.
No.
Oh.
I ended up with some issues with paperwork.
Oh.
And wanted to help me out. So here I ate that whole bill.
Is it expensive? I don't even know.
It
culinary
started off at $40,000 for basically a year and some change.
Oh wow! Holy cow!
Yeah. So joining the trades really, financially was one of the best things.
Okay.
Best things that ever could have happened.
So kids, if you're listening, don't be ashamed if you go into the trades because there's good money to be made. I know I've called plumbers.
Yep.
They charge like $100 or more an hour.
Yep.
So just think if you worked underneath someone a couple of years and then start your own plumbing business or electrical business or something like that, boy, you charge up the wazoo.
Yeah, and then you're also not putting yourself in student debt.
That too, yeah.
Make good money and no debt.
Doesn't hardly cost to
Right
go to
off the bat.
vocational school.
Yep.
No. So, yeah, I hate when people, they like push that 4-year thing. I'm like, yeah, I went to 4-year college. I know. But I would never say, don't go to this and don't do this. I would say, you know what? Learn in your high school times, especially your junior and senior year. Figure out what you love to do, and hopefully you can figure that out and not go into student debt because that's not very fun because it seems like a bill is coming for the rest of your life almost. But it's not something I would want, I guess. But trades are not, people give it kind of a bad rap, but it's okay. It might be a blue-collar, quote-unquote thing, but it's making white-collar money, I think, from one of the bills I got to pay for the plumbers and stuff. It seems like it. So this is good stuff right here. This is
telling you,
very smooth.
That 10-year rye, you could tell the difference. The toast tastes good and it's smooth, but you get that 10-year aged, man.
And having the ice in it, I like. So if we're pissing off any connoisseurs,
sorry,
we apologize.
Drinking it, not you.
Come on the cast and let me have it. I don't care. You sit right there and get pissed at me. But yeah, see, the thing is, I like pretty much any drink chilled. Yeah. So whether it would be chilled and not on the rocks, I gotta have it chilled usually. I don't even like hot chocolate in the winter. I will grab a cold bottle of water.
Really?
In the wintertime, I'll grab cold bottle of water or something like that. I just don't like drinking things that are warm. I don't know what it is.
So it's not the chocolate; it's just warm.
Yeah, I just don't like warm stuff.
Cold chocolate.
I'll give me chocolate milk. I'm fine.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll take chocolate milk. That's not a problem. So, anyways, have you had any? I mean, we grew up in about the same era. You're what, maybe a year or two older than me?
38.
Yeah, so and I'm 36. So, did you have any cool cars in high school?
I had my first car, a '96 Firebird.
Oh, 96 Firebird.
96 Firebird.
Was it a V6 or
T-tops,
V8?
V6.
Oh, but it did have T-tops.
It did have T-tops.
Ooh, a lot of the V6s did not have T-tops. So.
That was my ride.
That was your
and
ride.
I made it 14 years with that vehicle.
Really?
In the Minnesota winters. Yeah. Driving down the highway. Here you got semis, raised trucks, everybody else with four-wheel drive that's not supposed to be in the ditch, but they are. And here I got a rear-wheel drive sports car.
Here he comes.
White knuckle in this thing. I mean, my face is about 6 inches from the steering wheel, making sure that I'm right dead center down that road. But then eventually the car just started taking a toll.
So it was crapping out.
Yeah.
How many miles did you put on that thing before it went?
I think I was at 150-ish.
150-ish?
150,000-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get it brand new or close to?
No, I got it slightly used out of St. Paul.
Okay. So slightly used.
Yeah.
So it wasn't not very many miles on her?
No.
That's good. At least it went a while. I mean, Pontiac's not even around anymore.
Right.
I had a 99 Trans Am as well, T-Tops, but I had the V8 and it was a 6-speed. It was a fun car. I had it one winter. I wouldn't recommend doing it again for a winter vehicle, but
No.
I did have it for one winter, and it actually got around better than I expected to because it was rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And usually that's not what you want. If anything, you want front-wheel drive, but here in Minnesota, we all know it's all-wheel or four-wheel. So that was your baby.
Yes.
Did you do any modifications to it?
I did not. I
No
did
subwoofers?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing. I did nothing in that car. Just enjoyed it for what it was.
Nice.
The windows were about as black as the paint when I bought it.
Oh,
you
someone
could not
tinted it
see
out?
in that car. But then after several tickets from the law saying,
Yeah,
hey,
of
you
course.
can't have windows this dark, $135 a pop after a couple of those.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
How much was the
Appeal.
ticket?
$135 a piece.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it was already
after
like
the
that when
third
you had
one,
it?
I was like, all right, this is going to go.
When you bought that, it was already tinted?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And
someone...
up in St. Paul, they don't have to worry about that.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like they
the
would.
last thing the police officer is going to worry about up there is the darkness of your windows.
Well, actually,
they've got enough going on.
I would like to say no because I was up 10 years ago-ish. I was up 10 years, and I was parked on the side of the street because I went to the auto show when I usually go every year.
Yeah.
They gave me a ticket for not having a front license plate on while parked.
Really?
So I like to beg to differ on that they don't. They have better things to do because clearly that person didn't have anything better to do. Could have been a meter maid out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pissing people off. I'm up there literally paying the toll to park there for a few hours, and they gave me a ticket for that.
Well, you're normally a sharp-dressed guy. Were you sharp-dressed up there where you kind of felt belittled off of one of your suits?
Nah, I didn't have a suit on.
Fine dressed.
They had a Cadillac Escalade, though. That's what was parked there. The EXT model, I had
There
that
you
truck.
go.
That was a cool car. I like that. It was like the Avalanche, but
Yeah.
it was the Caddy version. Thing rode beautiful. Everyone said, oh, you don't have a real truck. I'm like, really? Because it's got a 6.0 in the damn thing, and it hauls everything just like normal and can tow just as much. So I didn't know why people always said that, but it's a Cadillac, so I suppose it was like stepchild that just got beaten.
It's not a working truck.
It was the beaten
It's not a working
stepchild.
truck. It's a good-looking truck. It's not a work truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want a good work truck.
But it was like the first tonneau covers were out there because they had that 3-panel tonneau cover.
Yeah.
The only problem is when you took them off, you had to store them somewhere, and most of the time it was in the back, so you already took away some of your cargo space. But it was really cool. The other thing about that is the whole back seat and the window folded down, so you could have all the way from the back bed of the truck all the way to the front seats, and it would all come down and collapse. So I hauled a couch one time, and I was surprised. So I got that.
Put a couch in that thing?
Hell yeah, I did.
Really?
Yeah, it went all the way up because the window came out, the window pane, and the seats folded down, and then the little bar that held the window and the seats up came out as well. So it was literally, you could see all the way from the back end to the front seats, clear as day. So you could actually haul some things. It was really innovative for early 2000s, mid 2000s, because that was a 04.
Yeah.
That was a neat ride. Those are kind of cool. You can still get one for like 10 grand, but seems like a little.
What year was that?
04, I think.
04?
Yeah. So it was like right when the EXTs came out. I think the 03 was their first year.
Yeah.
Kind of a sweet ride. Go get one. Like 10 grand or so. Oh, we got to try some of that mead here.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you almost done? Oh, yeah, you're getting down there.
Oh, that's smooth.
Dude, it's so smooth you can almost just drink it normal.
That's why I was kind of like, well, Chris, you asked me the question, what's one of your favorites?
Yep.
And hands down, that 10-year.
Now I'm seeing why.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I hope Basil Hayden calls us up and says, hey, I'm going to do a little sponsorship with you.
There you go.
Send me a few cases of that 10-year. We'll get you on here.
Well, you guys have a sweet bar back here, too. You could just kind of promote it, put some signs up.
Speaking of which, if you look back there, for those who are watching, you'll see your lady of the night behind us.
She's watching us.
She's watching you.
She's watching me. Yeah, don't worry about what's going on over here.
Well, you took a nice, cute photo with her.
I did. I saw her, and she was kind of lonely sitting at the bar with her hand raised, so I just got in there real close. And
those were the pre-wedding shenanigans there.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I have that photo somewhere. I think I sent it to you.
You did, and I appreciate that. I was kind of wondering. That's one of the, I think, my top 5 I was looking for.
Yeah, well, we had everything below the sun on those photos. All right, let's try some mead before we get into the next topic. Because I think you've given it to me one.
Cup, though.
You want me to grab another cup?
Yeah.
I can grab another cup.
It'd probably be, it'll take away from that. Because that's,
well, we don't want to take away.
Two different, yeah.
All right. I got some pretty ones.
You got some nice ones?
From Justin and Lana's wedding.
There you go.
All right. We can move this. We're all good. Oh. All right. She gonna blow?
No, I thought so. You were kind of hoping it was not.
All right, for those who just tuned in maybe or halfway through, this guy makes his own mead. Very Norwegian of him to do.
Very much so.
And we're going to taste it. And, it looks like the consistency of wine with the colorization of urination. Looks like someone that's dehydrated. Cheers. Ooh, that does smell like honey. I can smell the honey right off the bat.
Yeah, this is very, very baseline.
It doesn't. I was thinking it was going to be thicker, but it's actually thinner than I was expecting it to be. Mm-hmm. It's very good. I think you gave it to me one time, and I didn't really know what the heck I was tasting.
Yeah.
But now that we got this podcast, we've got to learn all about it.
Yes.
And we got Justin and Lana's wedding cups from October 7th of 17.
Well, they've been together for a little while now. Congratulations, guys. Keep it going.
Keep her going. 6 years plus.
Yep.
Congratulations. So anyways, going back to the car stuff, you had one car that was your baby, I guess. If you had to get your all-time favorite, what would you be getting? Or would it even be a car? Would it be something else?
It would be a car. If I could have one vehicle ever.
Okay.
It'd be a 1951 Mercury lead sled.
Hold on. What is that?
You've seen Gone in 60 Seconds.
I've seen it maybe twice in my life.
So if you remember this very distinct car, older model, it's got a black car, flames down the side, and it shoots fire out of the tailpipe.
Okay, it sounds like something from a ZZ Top thing.
This is beautiful. Just the profile of it, wide, thick body, windows, what are they, like 4 inches?
Okay.
4 inches tall or something.
So it's like a
4 to 5 inches. Yeah.
chopped
roof.
top. Cool.
To where the top is really lowered. I mean, the profile of it is just beautiful. And the teeth on the grill. Well, when you look at the front end of it, it looks like a bunch of teeth hanging out of the front, and it's just gorgeous. That's all time. I don't want anything that goes like 1,000 miles an hour. I'm not into that kind of speed.
Yeah, no, I get you.
The luxury slow rider with a good look to it. Yeah.
So what's that called again?
It is a 1951 Mercury lead sled.
51 Mercury lead sled. Is that the name of the model?
I think the lead sled came from the chopped top.
Okay.
But 1951 Mercury, and then they did the lead sled, which lowered the whole roof of the car.
I can only imagine what that looks like, because all I think about is like a ZZ Top music video.
Yeah.
That's all I think of. So that's a unique one. Have you ever seen one at a car show at all? Anybody ever have
A
one?
Mercury, but it
Not like
wasn't the
that.
lead sled version.
No. Okay. So you'd have to make it maybe your own?
Yep. A lot of places have it. Problem is, if you're going to find a car like that that's in good condition, you're going to pay like anywhere from like $50-some thousand. I've seen them up to like 150, 160,000.
Ooh, that's a steep price to pay.
So I was thinking maybe since I do a lot of work with steel fabrication and stuff like that, that'd be a fun project to try and tackle and get into. I don't know if I got that kind of resources and definitely not money.
Well,
that's expensive. You're talking $100,000 car.
That's a lot, yeah.
I don't have anything like that.
Well, you'll work your way up then.
I know.
So, anyways, is there anything else you want to add to the cast at all?
No, I just appreciate you having me on here, and this has been a cool experience. I mean, you guys have a beautiful garage, a nice setup. It's a heck of a good time, and I just appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
I do have a question, though.
Okay.
And I was thinking about this on the way out over here. So, things that go vroom.
Things that go vroom.
A lot of people that know you and Steph as river enthusiasts.
Yep, that's
Your
true.
boat.
Yep.
How did you come across that particular model?
That's a good question. So, like I said, I like to go to the auto show. Mm-hmm. Well, they also have the boat show at the same location.
Okay.
And they also have the motorcycle show that we should probably go to sometime as well, where all the newest and latest things are coming out. But the boat show is something else. I mean, you see the boats when they're in the water. They don't look as big as they do when they are on land in a showroom, or this is actually at the Minneapolis Convention Center.
Okay.
Just kind of came across looking at everything. And I had jet boats growing up all my life. And then I had, I don't know, you probably don't even know, I had that 30-foot like a mini yacht, sport cruiser, had living quarters underneath. You probably didn't even know.
I saw pictures of it. I never saw it in person, but I think Steph sent me some pictures of it. Yeah.
So I had that, and I wasn't a big fan of that. I was a fan of the jet propelled, and because on the river here we have a lot of wing dams, so you can run into a wing dam real easily if you're not on the main channel. Oh. So with that comes the jet boat where there's no props hanging down the water. So if anything, the worst thing you're going to do is either A, mess up your gel coat or your fiberglass by hitting the rocks, or 2, sucking up something into your intake. That can mess that up. But an intake is a lot less money than a prop is. An intake's like $1,000 max. And so anyways, saw that one, and it was 27 foot, and I was like, this is kind of the happy medium. I just talked on the podcast a couple of weeks ago with Brett. Him and I both wish that there was a cabin cruiser where it had the living quarters on it, but in a jet-propelled fashion of the way it moves, obviously. Because then you could still do all your living under there, but you don't have to worry so much about the wing dams that are on the river. So I came across that, though, 3 years ago at the boat show in Minneapolis, and it was just sad, and I'm like, man, this is so beautiful. You can literally walk right down the middle of it and never really have to take a step out.
Okay.
And it still had like kind of that luxury feel to it rather than the sporty feel. Because before that, I had that red, black, and white one that had the wakeboard tower and all that kind of stuff on it.
Yeah.
That was a really cool one, too. But this one is just more, we can haul out 10 people and not have to worry about it because it's yacht certified. So when it's yacht certified, that means that as many people as it can sit is as many people as you can have on there. The other boats mostly have a person or a weight limit, whereas you obviously go by the weight limit. You and me are bigger guys, so we fill it up for like a person and a half is what we are, because I think they give like the average size of a human, which is probably like 170 to 180 pounds. Well, I know darn well you're not that, and I know I'm not.
Nope.
I'm 230-ish, so I'm like a person and a half going on there. So you can't always go by how many people I can hold. On other boats, you have to go by what's the weight limit. Yeah. So that one, it was sitting in the showroom, which everything looks amazing in a showroom. It was black, white, and that brown tan interior just looked like luxury and sport all together. And that's kind of like my big thing. I like luxury and sporty together. And that's where I came across that. But funny part is, that boat with a trailer, it was on the lower end of everything there.
Really?
And that's $160,000.
That's a ride, though.
It's a ride. But then they had like a $700,000 boat that was sitting there that has everything on it. It has living quarters in it, has a front bow, things move down to get off nice at the dock. Like, it extends out, the side of the boat will just go down remotely, and then you can just walk off onto the dock, obviously. So actually the Yamahas, when you go to a boat show, are one of the lower models because they really range anywhere from $30,000 to $160,000.
Yeah.
And that's the low end. It's like when we're talking about this bourbon right now, we're like, oh, $75. That's entry level. Well, that's pretty good for us, I guess.
Exactly.
So when you're talking about that, we came across at the boat show in Minneapolis, and we hope to go. It's always fun, even if you're not going to buy anything, or even if you're not in the market to buy anything. It's still fun because you can walk on all of them. You can go in them. You just got to take your shoes off. You can walk in them, go into their cabins, go into the heads or the bathrooms, and you can experience all of it. And then it's just kind of really unique because you don't get to go on all these nice brand new boats anywhere else. I mean, you only see these kind of boats, probably Lake Minnetonka here in Minnesota. That's where you're going to see it. Or you're going to see them down in like Miami.
Yeah.
Because Miami has a really sweet boat show from what I understand as well.
Oh, I'm sure being where they're at.
So, yeah, I came across that the Minneapolis boat show, and I traded in. No, actually, I did not trade that in. I sold that. I sold that to a couple out of, I think, Chicago or Milwaukee. It was going on Lake Michigan is where it was going. So
Okay.
that was a pain in the butt to get that on there because it takes a certain trailer because those kind of boats that I had usually don't come with trailers.
Okay.
That's a pain.
Oh, I'd imagine.
So I didn't like that factor because now I'm at the helm, or I'm at not the helm, I'm sorry. I'm at the mercy of what someone's going to charge me to pull a boat out, or what someone's going to charge me to take this and maneuver it somewhere else, because you have to have a certain type of trailer and a certain type of vehicle in order to pull a boat that heavy.
Okay.
So this one, it only weighs 5,600 pounds, I believe, dry. It has a 90-gallon tank in it. If you had it filled up, I think I did the weight. If it's completely filled up, 700 pounds of gas is in it. So you're only at like 65 to 7,000 pounds pulling with the trailer on it. So it was easy enough to maneuver, big enough to host people like your family, our families together can go on the river and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's how we
It's
came
always
across
a good
it.
time. That's why I was just curious. I was like, I was just thinking maybe it's something to ask you on the podcast about how you guys found that boat, because it's obviously it's a good time, beautiful ride, but how'd you find it? I was just curious about that.
And the thing is with that, it goes over wakes and waves pretty darn well. It's pretty smooth. You go down to like a 20-footer, because mine's a 27. You go down to a 20-footer, and you're hitting those waves, and it's bam, bam, and the water splashing over. I pretty much cruise over top of most of those things, unless they're really, really big. But I love that.
Yep.
So that's a good question. Appreciate that. That's fun.
Absolutely. Just curious. Thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I'm just curious.
No, if you've got any other questions, I would love to have them. It's great when someone comes on and asks me questions.
Well, if you have me on again, I'll think of some more questions.
Hell
in the
yeah.
meantime, just start asking you some more stuff.
Sure.
If you're all right with that?
I'd be cool with that. You just come on and you ask me question after question.
Turn it around. Say, Mr. Chris.
Well, with that, I think we're going to wrap this episode up here. It's been another edition of Brews and Cruise. I am your host, Chris Jacobson. You can find this on Spotify, Apple. You can find this on YouTube and any other platform of podcast as well. If you could subscribe, that would be fantastic. If you like, that would be even better as well. Anything to get the word out about Brews and Cruise podcast, I would much appreciate. Until next week, cheers.